Hi, this is Jake Lloyd. I played young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You're listening to The Critic Show with Scott Murray. Now, this is podcasting.
Jake, thanks for taking time to talk with us on the Critic Show today.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.
And let me start off by saying I'm a fan of the Phantom Menace.
Okay.
So I wanted to definitely let you know that.
The Critic Show is the title. I was like, oh, that's going to be charming. Yeah. This is going to be one very fun interview.
No, this critic likes the Phantom Menace, but I know that there are a lot of fans that can be kind of jaded and a little over-judgmental, but when you get to come to a convention like this and meet all the people that love your work, respect your work as an actor, and enjoy the film, that has to really make it that much more worth it, I would think.
Yeah, it does. I enjoyed my performance, but and it was a very awesome job to take part in. But mainly, I think when you talk about the jaded fans, they don't remember that they saw it when they were kids, and this one's for kids too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, how familiar with Star Wars were you when you got a chance to? I know you were very young. I think you were 6 at the time.
Yeah.
How familiar were you with Star Wars when you went into audition?
I was pretty familiar. My mom was a big Star Wars fan, so I watched it. My favorite character is Darth Vader.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was actually before the re-release and stuff. And I actually dressed up as Darth Vader for Halloween, but everyone thought I was just this weird samurai. And so I was very familiar with it, and I really, really loved the movie. It was, the philosophy of Star Wars is something that I've always been very fond of and embraced. It's actually why I like the games like KOTOR and The Old Republic, because they do such a good job of embellishing upon the philosophy and giving it more of a defined structure that is very tangible and accessible while you're playing a game, and that sort of thing is why I enjoy it. But yeah, I was very familiar with it, and I was over the moon when I got the part. It was I cried little tears of joy of my 8-year-old self. So yeah.
Now, this was not an average audition process from what I've heard. It was, I believe, a 2-year process. That had to be quite an experience. Can you talk a little bit about waiting for that moment? You were talking about the excitement of getting the role, but I bet it was pretty challenging waiting a couple of years to find out who was going to get this thing.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, the first audition, go in and meet Robin, and you're super excited. The possibility, and they initially told me I was too young, too short, too much of everything to get the role, and they came back and like 6 months later and were like, hey, could you come in again and meet with Robin? And I was like, okay. And so by that time I was just like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? It wasn't termed a callback quite. It was like, you got a callback, but it's not necessarily what you'd think, because normally you do one audition, you get a callback, and then you either book the job or not. And they're like, well, it's not quite a callback, but she wants to meet with you again. So I'm like, hey, how's it going? You doing all right? I'm super excited. Yeah, school's great, blah, blah, blah. We didn't discuss anything except for what was going on. It was, they asked me about some questions about Star Wars, and it was fun. It was just a really nice meeting, and came back again 6 months later, and it was the same thing. And then finally we did the screen test, and booked the job, and then we filmed. So yeah.
You were talking a moment ago that you were familiar with Star Wars, so I would assume that those first few days on the set, whether it be the scene with the 3PO and R2-D2 or even with Yoda, that had to be kind of surreal at times, being a fan already going in.
Yeah, it was quite incredible. The fact of the matter is that they literally constructed a fantasy world to the best of their ability. Yeah. And so you walk on set for the first time, and I don't think it was just because I was 8 years old, and I could see it on like my parents' faces or other people's faces on their first day on set. They just walk on, and it's an incredible thing to partake in, to actually see. They really did do an absolutely stellar job of bringing that world to life, and even with the wires and cables and PAs and camera equipment, it was very easy to find yourself in a different world with them. So.
Well, obviously, experiencing fame as an adult is very different than experiencing it as a child. You know, some things can be more fun or tougher than others. Even with all the challenges of dealing with the magnitude of a film like this, what was it like to be able to go around and you've got an action figure made out of yourself, your face is on the very first poster? That all had to be pretty surreal, but I'm sure there were a lot of challenges going through all that as well as a kid.
Yeah, no one anticipated the sort of volume, or it was the most anticipated film of all time when it came out, and no one knew exactly how far that would go in terms of people's actual outpouring of attention, and it was really, really impressive. I mean, I did 60-some interviews in a day and stuff for the press junket, and it was still fun. The nice thing about it is that they made it very easy for us to get along and be very happy with what we were doing. Lucasfilm always made sure that we were taken care of. And, so when you're talking about doing 60 interviews in a day, it's very easy, Yeah, it's just, you want to do it. They're really great people, and you can be very proud of your work with them. And it's very, very easy to get that stuff done. So it was a little strange. I mean, getting that much fan mail and stuff. I'm actually really grateful, since you're talking about the transition. I've got a small, friendly community on Facebook that I tend to hang out with or respond to all their posts and stuff. But it's still small enough now, and I'm old enough to where I can actually deal and talk to these people one-on-one. Yeah. And I can actually talk to them, which is nice. So, there's like 1,800 of them on Facebook. So I set up a gamer guild and a gamer thing, and I game with fans as often as possible, though I've been really, really busy with the production company this last month and a half, so I haven't been able to do anything with them, but normally I'm there every weekend gaming with whoever wants to game and
get in the group.
Yeah, exactly. So that stuff's fun, and that's kind of a nice access that you don't anticipate when you do a movie, is to have a whole bunch of hardcore gaming nerds. Which Star Wars, that's a pretty good outlet for the hardcore gaming nerds, and that's pretty awesome. Chatting about your computer specs with people every once in a while is pretty sweet. So.
That's cool. Well, you were talking about them creating this world. This was one of the more heavy CGI films to come along in a while. How challenging was it to go in and have to play out these scenes where you're having to imagine? I mean, it's challenging for the adults, but I got to figure it was challenging for a kid as well to have to imagine things that are there that you really don't see. But maybe as a kid you have a better imagination.
Yeah, that's fair. I have no idea. I don't know how to answer that other than meeting Ahmed, and who was the main CGI character. It's very easy to keep him in mind, and after seeing him perform and hearing him at the table reading and stuff, it's very easy to keep him in mind when you are talking to a silver X on a blue screen. He's just off camera saying exactly what he needs to be saying and acting across from you. It's not like you're literally staring at a blank wall having to you're just talking to yourself. It's not like voice acting where you're just doing ADR work and stuff like that, which is a blast, and it's very interesting, but like you still have someone to actually act across from when you are doing the blue screen stuff. So
was riding in the pod racer and flying the Starfighter probably the most fun scenes to do?
Actually, I don't know. The most fun I had was nothing in Tunisia. Tunisia was ridiculously hot and a scary experience. They tried to buy my sister.
The Tunisians tried to buy your sister?
Yeah, they tried to buy her. 2 camels and a horse. Yeah.
You said, I'm sorry, my sister's worth much more than that.
No, my parents said that. I wanted a camel.
You wanted to bring home the camel?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But, we made it up to her for her birthday. They brought a Shetland pony for her to ride and stuff.
Was that right?
Yeah, it was really, really cool. But, I don't know. For favorite memories, I suppose, I particularly enjoyed the premiere. Seeing that finished work the first time is really phenomenal, especially after the cut. If you ask Matthew Wood, he said that the original cut that he got to watch was 6 hours long. That means we put an awful lot of work down on film.
That makes the Lord of the Rings look short.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and there wasn't quite as much fade to black, though there were a lot of wipes. So it was
infamous wipes.
Yeah, brilliant. I loved them. When I'm editing, it's like one of those things with when I'm thinking about a transition. It's like the wipe is really good. It's just like, do you really want to cross that boundary? Like because you have to. It's a very different type of transition. It's a sort of meanwhile back at the Hall of Justice transition.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Well, I know that you're focused now on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You were just talking about the challenges that creates. And I know that you've been pursuing editing for a while, so what sort of things have you been involved in the last year? Are there some ways that people can see some of your work right now?
I'm actually I'm in mid-production on a music video for an upcoming artist named Mallory Lowe.
Okay.
So yeah, we're finishing that off, and I've edited a couple of music videos, directed a couple of music videos. And, I don't typically share them around because they're usually just made to get me more work. I do some stuff in the industrials, like just basic commercials and stuff, do some line editing and basically, and organize footage, capture and stuff like that.
But you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I am, and we have the production company starting up. We're actually looking to work with actors, directors, cinematographers, and stuff within the Midwest in general.
Oh, really?
After we wrap Mallory's music video, we're going to move on to those projects. We're looking to aid other people. Actually, we've got a pretty good production team.
Yeah, that's like you got some things falling into place.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good assets, and we're looking to help people further their own careers at the moment.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. It's going really, really well. So, yeah, if you want, you can give us a shout-out at info@pumpkinpackedproductions.com.
Okay.
So we're always happy to talk to different people and see what we can help you out with.
Jake, I really appreciate your time. Again, I'm a big fan of the Phantom Menace, and I enjoyed talking to you, and thank you for taking the time.
Oh, no problem. It was my pleasure.